Hey guys, my name is Michael Garrick, and this is the Popping Culture Podcast. We're all about pop culture and the people that love it, also about the cultures that influence pop culture. Here today is my guest, Grant Sheffield. He's a comedian and he's also a podcaster himself. His podcast is called uh, Another Black. Say it one more time for me, buddy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, another Black Dude podcast.
Yeah, sorry about that, brother. He just told me, guys. I'm so sorry I messed that up. Uh, but we're going to be talking about streaming and how it's influenced pop culture. But before we do, I wanted to ask Grant, since you're a comedian, a lot of people talk about bombing and focus on bombing. Can you tell us when and where you were the first time you killed,
mm,
and how did it
when?
feel? Yep, those three questions.
Um, yeah, the first time I think I was in North Carolina for sure. That's why I started in North Carolina. The first time I killed, I think was I was doing a show as place in Durham called Full Steam Brewery.
Okay.
Um, I did a show there. I think Deb Arona was running the show then, and like I just remember after the show, people were coming up to me and like, "Oh, that was great. Where can I find you?" Stuff like that. And I was like, I must have had like a really good set that day because like this was maybe 6 or 7 months into doing stand up. I was like, you kind of get into that rut where it's like, all right, I think I'm funny, but I'm not like 100% sure. But like that's the validation when somebody comes up to you like after a show. They're like, all right, what's your Instagram? What's your whatever? I want to follow you on social media. And I was like, oh, I guess I need to make this shit because I hadn't made like all the social media stuff yet, like that you know, close in the stand up. Like I was like, oh, I guess I need to make an Instagram, make a whatever. So yeah.
Okay. Nice. Nice. Has anything compared like to that feeling that you've done before? Does anything compare?
Yeah, absolutely. I think once you this is gonna sound like real meta. I think there are like different levels of killing, quote unquote.
Okay.
Like the way you kill when you're like a year in a comedy versus 2 years versus 3 years are different. Like, of course, you think about like, oh, when I was 6 months in, I had a show where I felt like I was crushing it. But if I listen to it now, almost 6 years ago, I'm like, ooh, I bombed that whole set. That's how it sounds in my head now. Like, I think I had one in, I did a show at Caroline's. I was hosting for a buddy of mine who was headlining.
Okay.
And I was like, yo, this is the best show I think I've ever done in my life. Like just everything was working the way it's supposed to, like comedic. Like the jokes were hitting, the venue was perfect, the audience was into it. I was into the jokes, I was riffing, I was doing like all the comedian things, right? I think
Yeah.
that was probably the best.
Nice, nice, man. I'm happy for you, man. Me and Grant, we met. I want to say I'm getting this right. We met outside. We met at like an
Yeah.
outside show, and the comedian that booked me, I guess he was the great grandson of the Comedy House in Columbia, South Carolina. His father
Mhm.
owned a Can you hear me pretty good?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think his grandfather owned the Comedy House, Columbia, South Carolina, and I had done a few shows like guest spots, and that's how I met him.
Okay.
And yeah, I remember I drove from Columbia to Raleigh, and it was like, yeah, this is where we're telling jokes, and I was like,
I remember that show. I saw a picture of that a few weeks ago because I think it's literally been 5 years from that day. Like a few weeks ago, I saw it on Instagram. I was like, oh, I remember this. It was the NC State Fairgrounds.
okay,
Stephen Hamlet's the comic.
that's
He
it.
was,
Yes, yeah,
yeah, he was running the show, and we were outside. And he had like I think it was like a wooden platform or whatever, and we were all standing there doing our jokes. And it was probably maybe 40, 50 degrees. It was freezing outside, and like we had to catch people as they were walking past us. I don't know if you remember that or not, but
Oh, I
like.
remember exactly, brother. I never forget because I drove like almost 4 hours, and I was like, my friend that rode with me, he's like, buddy, if you keep doing these, man, you'll make it never. And I was like, I was like, whatever. I was like, whatever. Like, yeah, man, it was cool though. It was yeah, you're right. We did have to stop people. You're right. We had to keep stopping people, even telling jokes to people that were in the car.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that. And it's interesting how like comedy's come full circle in those 5 years because like now everybody's doing shows outside, right? Like everybody's doing park shows or whatever type of shows. And to think that like 5 years ago we were like trying to catch the attention of people who are walking past on their day, and now we have to do that just because of the coronavirus is ridiculous.
Uh, At least people paying for it now. Like people pay like to sit in the cold to hear jokes, and like
Bruh,
they'll make you
it's so
appreciate
fun.
it. And I don't know about you, you're a little bit bigger than me. This ain't skinny people weather, brother. I was telling jokes with my teeth chattering, messing up the punchlines completely.
Yeah,
Cool, cool.
yeah, bruh.
And I promise we are gonna get into the topic streaming, but I have one more question.
Sure.
Being from the South and now in New York, is is comedy different, or it still has like the basics, or like it's some things you said down here you wouldn't be able to say up there?
That's a great question. I think comedy up here, I think comedy is at its basis, it's the same everywhere, right?
Okay.
But I do think like up here, I need to be like a lot sharper and a lot quicker, right? I've always said like back home in the South, for me when I was doing jokes, I could do like a long build up instead of like up here where it's like, all right, I need to be funny in like 6 seconds. Of course, rule of thumb, you want to be funny within 6 seconds anyways. But in the South, I feel like I could do a lot more storytelling to get to the joke versus here, it's like, all right, what's the bit? What's the bit? What's the bit? Like keep punching, like jab, 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 and then punch up here versus like, I can kind of be chilling, like, all right, let me start talking about the subject and let me get to the punchline. Like, I think it's maybe a sharper comment being up here, but I do miss telling like longer stories, doing longer sets back home.
Okay, so a 30-minute set up north is like way harder than a 30-minute set down here.
I think it depends on the type of night you're having. I'm not gonna
Okay,
lie. I think that's just comedy in general. I think that if you're having a good set here and you're having a good set back home, that's not taking away from what you're doing in the South versus in the North, but it's just like um, you really are like cutting your teeth in the North because like there are so many places where you can get comedy, right? Like I'm in New
oh,
York City,
okay.
so
Oh yeah, true,
this is
yeah,
like
yeah.
people can get jokes everywhere they go. Well, at least in the olden times, right? Like people can go to the comedy cellar for probably less than $30. They can go to Greenwich Village, like those comedy clubs, Eastville, whatever else, versus some random bar that I have a show at. Like people can go and see the best comics on the planet for $10, $15 versus seeing me for free. Like you got to really choose how you're doing these jokes.
Yeah, yeah, you're
Like
right.
if Louis and Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle pop up at a bar show, that's gonna be the best bar show in the city, just automatically.
If
And
Louis pop, if
that's the
Louis
thing that
pops
happens.
up, if Louis pops,
Yeah.
yeah, if Louis pops up, okay. All
Hey,
right,
he did a show a few weeks ago in Queens, and I mean, I don't think you can get canceled twice, if I'm being honest.
sure. I heard his DVD, well, not DVD, but Blu-ray. I heard it sold like really well. You have to buy it off his
Yeah.
website, but they said it sold like really, really well, and all that money goes straight to him. So you know,
Hey, people still want comedy.
true, true.
Like, and I'm not a person who's gonna like be upset at people for who they listen to or whatever. Because if you want comedy, you're gonna find whatever type of comic you like, and
Exa-
that's cool.
Oh yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. Yeah, like whatever you find funny, find funny. It's definitely people I don't find funny, but I get why people enjoy them. You know,
Hmm.
like Andrew Dice Clay. I just can't find him funny, but I definitely understand the people that do. Like,
Yeah.
uh,
I knew a lot of people when I used to sell cars. They used to love Dice Clay, and I was like, really? This is what you think comedy is? I mean, okay, but it's not my taste.
yeah. I'll leave it right there because I don't want to like piss off anybody. But no, I like Andrew Dice Clay. Uh, uh, you chose the topic streaming. In general, any special reason?
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day because like I just started watching Stranger Things, right? Like I
Okay.
just watched it like in the last few days. And I remember there was so much hype around this show. And like, of course, like I'm 30 years old and like I'm watching it like 5 years past when everybody else saw it. So I'm just like, this show isn't amazing. I think it was just so much hype around it. Like, it's fine. This show is fine at best. I was like, you guys have nostalgia towards the 80s, and that's what's selling the show for you.
Tell them how you feel, Grant. Tell them how you
Like,
feel.
that's just me, right? Like, I'm watching, I'm just like, I think I tweeted the other day, I was like, the best thing about this show is the bikes. Like, that's just where I'm at. Like, oh, they're on their bikes. I remember these Huffies. That's dope. But like, other than that, it's a fine show. It's okay.
I couldn't get into it. My girlfriend loves it, but I couldn't get into it. I was just like, but don't get me wrong, I love nostalgia. I really
Yeah.
do. But I was like, I've seen this done over and over. This just has a
Yeah.
way better budget. Like I'll give it that. Like the stuff I've seen, it's like because people like I like Monster Squad. I'm a big fan of Monster Squad.
Okay. Yeah,
Watching it
yeah.
as an adult, this does not have a budget. Like
Yeah.
it's not have a budget. Um, is there any other show that? Well, I guess is it a show that you like streaming in general?
Yeah. So a show that I watched recently, uh, did you watch the show Woke on Hulu? Did you watch that?
Not yet.
So it has Lamorne from New Girl, the black
Okay.
dude there. And I like that he had a show. I didn't necessarily like the show,
Okay.
right? Like I streamed that and watched it, and I was just like, yo, I think the model of streaming is just like it's interesting to me, like watching these shows because like it seems like they write these episodes so that you have to watch the next episode, right? Like there are no
Yes. Yeah.
standalone episodes in most streaming shows.
Exactly.
Like if you think about like I don't know your favorite TV show from like the '90s, like let's talk about like maybe Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Okay.
Like if you miss one episode, okay, cool, you missed one episode, you still jump back in and know what's happening in the show. But these streaming shows, bro, if you miss one, you might be out for the season. Like that's
You,
it for your ACL when it comes to streaming.
you're completely right. Like if you miss Fresh Prince of Bel Air, the only thing you be thinking is like, damn, that wife doesn't look the same.
Like
Like
yeah, we got light skin Aunt Viv. What season is this?
yeah.
Like
Yeah, when did this happen? But besides that, do you remember streaming when it first hit?
yeah. So I remember when like Redbox was still like the DVDs in Redbox, and that transition went from like Redbox DVDs to like Netflix out of nowhere, right? I think that probably within like what a year and a half of
It
each other they came out.
it was between 2009 and 2011.
Yeah, and it was just so it's like a really crazy time, like thinking about how we jumped from Blockbuster to Redbox to Netflix,
Yeah, I
and like I don't
if
know, dude, it's nuts.
if it wasn't for Netflix, I would have never got into a show. My first show ever streaming on
Mm.
Netflix was My Name is Earl.
Okay,
And
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
watched it. I never watched it on cable. I watched it straight on Netflix when it came out on my iPad, like the first generation. And I was like, man, this is a great show and no commercials. I got to watch it all the way through. And I was like, yeah, the, not the best acting, but I enjoyed the show. That was my first like taste of streaming because without the commercials, man, because there's a lot of streaming formats that have commercials. Do you think the
Mm.
commercials take away from it, or do you? I wouldn't say you want commercials. Nobody wants commercials, but do you rather it without commercials or with commercials?
I think I like it without commercials because like I'm on somebody's Hulu account, full disclosure, right? So on their Hulu account, they have ads and commercial breaks. So I
Okay.
got those login credentials, right? So like when I'm watching episodes of shows, I want to fast forward, right? And you'll fast forward straight to the commercial. I'm like, bruh, I hit fast forward for a reason, right? So that's the thing that I don't like on Hulu, but also I'm not paying for it, so I can't really complain, right?
Yeah.
Uh, it's better on Netflix. I think Netflix has like a great idea of not having commercials.
Plus, they were first. Like they got the leapfrog with everybody. Like when it's something about being first and doing it correct.
Mhm.
They got the leap on everyone. The only thing I think in like the long game, which I think Netflix probably has the long game, is the fact
Mhm.
that like without commercials, the price has to go up. There's no way around it.
Sure.
Like there's no
Yeah.
way you can stick with that because I think the cheapest one now is $8.99. I can't see it staying $8.99 for long.
Yeah,
Without
it would be
commercials.
sustainable. Yeah. I think about like, you know, like Netflix, of course it goes up like every year and we always complain, but also we have probably 2 or 3 million titles we can flip through that don't have commercials. Like that price probably should be what cable TV costs. It should probably be something like $65 a month. Honestly, if you think about there are no commercials, you can watch pretty much any movie from the last 50 years. It's a popular movie and any TV show, and they're putting out new content. We're like, man, $12 is too much. You're like, $12 is nothing. We're robbing them.
Yes, yes. Um, and I'll ask you, but my opinion, the way I think it's truly influenced pop culture is we're so used to waiting. And
Yeah,
now I think like with Netflix and a lot of other things, like you have to wait for it to get on Netflix. You'll probably have to wait for it to come on Disney Plus and the other streaming services. But we're just so used to just that.
yeah.
Um, is there anything else you want to say about like the movie wise to streaming before we go to music?
I think that the model has changed for entertainment. That like you think about like movie theaters who are now going straight to like Netflix or straight on demand. Like I don't know what movie theaters are gonna do since like the streaming giant is like Amazon has taken over. Obviously, Netflix has their own movie component. Like I don't know if the movie theater industry is gonna like survive long term since it's like an old model anyways.
Yeah. I think if it's gonna be a big hit if Disney pulls out. Like if Disney came out tomorrow and was like, yeah, we're not going to the movie theater no more. I think that's a big blow. Um, everybody else, I mean, I guess if everybody pulled out, of course, that's the over. But I think the big pullout would be Disney. If Disney was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
all right, we're not going to the theater anymore, I think everybody else would just follow suit.
Oh yeah, I mean that's like billions of dollars just leaving from like movie theaters. So absolutely, like they decided, all right, the next five Avengers and Iron Man, Black Panther, all that's going to be straight on Disney app. Then of course the app price is going to go up.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh yeah, that's projected to go up in like 5 years. Like
Yeah,
judging by
absolutely.
MSN, they say it'll be going up. But now I got a very important question for you, Grant. Don't
Yeah,
lie to me. When the last time you bought an album?
bruh. Like you mean like a hard copy or just like bought an album off of like iTunes or whatever?
Either.
Ooh, bruh. Maybe bought an album, maybe like an actual CD might be the Take Care CD. I think I bought that, which I think was like '09 maybe.
Yeah, right, right before
Yeah, I
it
think it was
happened.
'09.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think I bought that the physical album and then um I think the last album I bought online, bro, I don't know. I don't
You
know. Maybe Drake had an album like 2 or 3 years ago. I think I bought that album before I signed up for the Apple Music thing.
okay? Okay.
Yeah.
You beat me, man. The last album I bought was the Carter Three.
Yo, that was 2005, maybe?
Yeah, yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, yeah. That was high school money. Like, uh, and now I have Spotify, and for the same price as one album a month, I have like a billion songs. Uh,
Exactly.
so I think that just we have something that a lot of people, I guess. I mean, you can go to a music store, record store, and you can see it, but like I think we were like very like blessed to have that nostalgia that like we know what it's like to like almost hit somebody in the car because you're going through a CD case trying to find the right
Yeah.
CD. It's not,
Yeah.
they just have their phone. So I think that's a part of how streaming has definitely changed pop culture.
Yeah,
Um,
easily. I think we're definitely more than likely we're the last generation to have ever done that. Like people in their early to mid 30s are probably the last generation that's ever done that. More than likely.
my coworker's daughter, she told me that the kids make each other's playlists now. Like it used to make mixtapes for somebody, but now they make playlists.
They'll never know the joy of getting on Kazaa or LimeWire and destroying your parents' computer to make a
Oh,
CD.
bro, I tell you, LimeWire destroyed some computers, man. I remember my brother be like, he's watching porn. I'm like, I wish it was porn. Uh,
Yeah, me and my brothers, we did the same thing. It would be porn, Dragon Ball Z, and music, and that's just what it was. And I think we had like a compact Presario. That's how old that was when we had LimeWire. Like when those old, you push the button in the computer. Like yeah,
oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I had a gateway.
okay, yeah, we had those as well. I think we had that at school in like the eighth grade typing class or whatever I was in. That's a throwback. Most people won't even get the reference of typing class. Like
Nah, real throwback. We got that gateway from Circuit City. Oh man, I'm so glad they didn't survive. They didn't have good warranties. Uh,
they definitely had terrible warranties. I was happy when they broke down too because that was In Greenville, in North Carolina, there was like a Best Buy here, and then there was like a Circuit City around the corner. And when Best Buy was like really popping, that Circuit City across the street shut down completely. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Mm. Um, but to get back to streaming in general, do you think it makes it easier for artists, or do you think it makes it tougher now?
I think it makes it harder for artists. I think just because like they can't monetize like they could do like on a physical disc. Like you think about like the newer artists like Billie Eilish, people like that, they've never sold an actual like hard copy album. So like they might be getting like pennies on the dollar for streams versus like on an actual like physical album. Like you might get 5 million streams, but what happens if you walk away with like $5,000? That's not worth it compared to like if you sold $5 million in CDs.
True, true. You definitely have to tour. You definitely have to tour more now. That's 100% true. But I think it is easier to stay hot now because instead of like, man, I got to make a great album, it's like if I got three good hits, I can make it to next summer.
Yeah, that's true. Who do you? Who's
Oh,
a good
Drake.
example of that?
Oh,
I think there are a lot of
it's a,
like
it's a lot.
the young rappers. They do a lot of like, all right, I got you. Just like you're saying, they have like one strong hit, and then they make it to the next season. Like,
Lil Nas X.
yep, because he didn't put out anything for a hot minute. Like he
Right.
put out Old Town Road, and then he disappeared completely.
Yeah, I give it up to the guy, man. Like I got mad respect for him, but that's the only person that really like popped in my head. I was like, yeah, it's him. Like that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Like,
that's facts.
yeah, like he played the game exactly the way he needed to. He stretched it out, and he was like, "Let me try one more time, and hopefully he'll stop." And so yeah. Um, Getting back to the new streaming service coming out, Disney Plus will be the newest one to get put their hand into the game. Um, do you see like more companies coming? Well, HBO Max also. Do you see more companies coming in, or do you think this is probably be a slowdown point, or do you think it's going to stretch out even more, where more companies are trying to do a subscription base?
Yeah, I think that the markets kind of got flooded a little bit now. I think the only way it'll like work is if there's already like an interface is like in place. So you think about like like Apple TV and all them, like all their stuff is based off of other streaming platforms. They also have like their own content, but it being like a part of like a suite is what helps them out a lot. But if YouTube did like something like was like just YouTube movies or stuff like that, then that would definitely pop because so many people are on YouTube. It's like, if I remember, I think it's the second largest search engine in the world after Google, of course. So like if they had like movies up there and like their TV subscription wasn't trash, then they would be good.
And Google owns YouTube, right?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah,
So they're getting that money.
yeah, that's an easy way into the game right there. Like, okay, nice, nice. Um, do you play video games?
Trying to get back into them. So this is the thing, right? I got a PS3. It's beat up. Uh, but I've been playing the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas just because nostalgia reasons. We were talking about that earlier. Like, I play that maybe once every 3 months just to make sure I still got it.
Oh, dude, I love the PS3. PS3 helped me get through my divorce. Like
Bruh.
it did. I ain't gonna lie. Like, shoot, if you get a chance, try Fallout New Vegas, man. You'll love it.
Bet. I'm gonna write that down right now.
Yeah, the graphics
Those
still
games are
hold up.
like $15 right now.
Shit, probably nine, man. Probably nine, $10. But that game will help you through. But also like Xbox Game Pass, and I think PlayStation Network has one also. Uh, you just pay $5 a month, and they give you like 50 games a month that you can just play, and it's on PC
With no
also.
restrictions?
No restrictions at all. But it
Really?
like it flips out like every 2 months, like games to leave and come. Leave. But yeah, that's what I've been doing lately, and it's a great catalog of games, and that's their way of streaming.
Do you think that model works for like long term?
As a gamer, I hope so. Like I hope it stays at 4.99. But I could definitely see it going up to like 60. So you pay for one, like the same way with albums. So you pay for one game a month, and they'll give you like 1,000. I can definitely see that happening. In the long run.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything has turned to like a subscription service. Like you even look at like what like Google Drive has changed their services now, where it's like you can only have a certain amount of gigs, and now you have to pay however much. It used to be like unlimited, and then they're like, nah, bro, and they changed everything like 3 months ago, I think.
Yes. Um, when it comes to streaming in general, do you think that it's upward from here, or do you think it can go downward?
I think it's upward from here. I think companies would definitely have to be more creative since a lot of stuff has already been done from like all the big names. Like once I think Disney was the last big one to drop, and I was like, after this, I don't know if it can get much better than this because again, they had all the Avengers movies, they had all those movies from our childhood, like Lion King and Lady and the Tramp, stuff like that. It's like you can't top nostalgia plus new content.
And they still haven't even dropped that Tombstones pictures. Disney owns Tombstone, and that's where all that R-rated material goes. And they still just like, yeah, we don't know where we're gonna put all this R-rated stuff, but we got it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's still something they just can leave in their back pocket. Um,
It's smart.
yeah, very very smart. But it's weird. I don't know where they're gonna put Deadpool. Like
Yeah.
like
That's a good question. I was actually watching that 2 nights ago. I was watching that movie.
the
It's
first
still
one,
good.
first or
Uh, I was
sequel.
I was watching the first one.
Yeah,
The first one still holds up. The sequel, I wasn't crazy about it when I saw it in theaters, but I was just supporting Ryan Reynolds because I liked the first movie.
exactly, exactly. It was a sequel. I put it like that. Not you can't always hit. So hopefully the third one they can get it.
Yeah. I feel like the sequel, he was doing a lot of telling us about the movie instead of being in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, bruh, like just go with the storyline. Don't tell me what's gonna happen next in this movie. We've never seen the movie.
Yeah. The girl that played Domino, she's a real good actress.
Yeah, for sure. She was on Atlanta. Zazie Beats.
I thought that was the girl from Atlanta. Okay, okay.
Hmm.
That's another show I streamed. Atlanta. Atlanta was good.
You didn't watch it. You didn't watch it like when it was on TV.
Nah, man, I've cut the
Really?
cord. I cut the cord years ago, man. I haven't had cable since
Really?
like 2011.
That's crazy. I think I watched it. Well, yeah, I watched it at my parents' house because they had cable. So I guess
Okay.
I also cut the cord. Like,
Yeah, I was like,
yeah.
yeah, I was like, I got the internet, I got these streaming services, that's fine. Um, is there anything else you would like to say about streaming and how you think it's influenced pop culture?
Um, I think you think about like comedy and the Netflix specials and stuff like that. Like every every comic always says this, but like everybody has a special right now.
Good or bad? Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
I
I'm
think it's like a
joking.
mix. It's like
Yeah,
a
don't
mix.
yeah, don't say no names. Uh,
Right, yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Cause
yeah.
bruh.
Hate to run into them in the future. Like, hey, I saw the podcast. Like,
Yo.
yeah,
Hey, that talks about how legit your podcast is. They see me like, oh, I was listening to Mike's podcast. I'm like, all right, cool. Uh no, I think it's good and bad. I think a lot of comics feel like they need to be in the mode of creating a new hour every year. Like even comics who are not like the big name comics, even like the mid majors, if you will, right? Like everybody's like, oh, I need to put out an album. For what? Like work on like getting your material together that way you can go on tour and then think about like an album. That way you don't have to do that material anymore. But like, oh, I need to put out an album because all my friends are putting them out. It's like, nah, bro. How you gonna finance that? With what money?
yeah. If I ever talk to people, I'd tell the same thing I was told is like learn how to host, learn how to feature, and then worry about headlining. But if you don't know how to host, you'll never feature, you'll never headline. Unless you're already famous, then you can do whatever.
Yeah, for sure. I run into a lot of comics who are like in that same mode where they're like trying to put on the albums. Like, bro, you've never opened for anybody. You've never done more than 10 minutes on stage in front of more than 15 people. How are you gonna put out an album? Like that idea is ridiculous. Like, oh, you think you have an hour of material and you've never even hosted a show? That's crazy to me.
Yeah, yeah. But them ten people shows make you appreciate 100 people.
Yep, absolutely,
Especially when,
absolutely.
when you go from 100 to back to 10 the next night. You're like, oh yeah, all right.
Comedy is one of the most humbling experiences of a lifetime
Yeah.
because they're like again, when I did the show at Caroline's, and it was probably like probably like 150, 175. It was full house, right? And the next day I was on an open mic. Like, what's the difference? Like being at the one of the biggest comedy clubs in the country, then going to an open mic with 50 white dudes and there's no audience. That's comedy, like through and through.
Yeah, 100%. Um, and I will end on this question because, like I said, you're one of the funniest comedians I know. Guys, you gotta make sure you follow him on all major platforms.
Appreciate
Uh,
that. Appreciate that.
oh, just telling the truth. When it comes to the way comedians are getting paid for these specials,
Mhm.
do you think people should ask for more money? That way, even the people at the bottom can make more, or do you think you should just go for whatever they give you?
I think you should ask for more.
Because if the
Um,
bottom person asks for, let's say, a million, if a bottom person asks for, okay, that's high. If a bottom person asks for 500,000, and everybody
mhm.
sticks with 500,000, then that's the bottom line. But I've definitely been hearing stuff about like 100,000 for an hour.
I mean, if you think you can parlay that into more, then okay. But like also if you're thinking about like, all right, 10% is going to the agent, 15% might be going to just the distributor, which is probably going to be Netflix. And then another 10, 15% is going to go to taxes. Like how much did you really make out of that million? Probably walk away with like 450. Ask for more. Like just think about what's going to make you be at a number where it's like, all right, I feel like I gave them enough of my material that, in 2, 3 years, I was able to use this for something else.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not helping, then why are you doing that?
I wouldn't even think about like the million. I was talking about like people been selling their specials for 100,000.
I don't know
And
about that, bro.
and if for a good well, I won't say because everybody's different, but for a good special, like 3 years of working this out, making sure it's good, 3 to 4 years, I can't see coming back with like 35 or 40,000 when I spent 3 to 4 years to make sure this is perfect. You know,
Yeah, I agree. I think my only thing is like, think about the amount of gas you spent, the amount of time that you slept 3, 4 hours a night. Try to monetize that. Is that worth $100,000? If it's not, go up. Like that's how it works in my head at least. Like if you
nice.
think about like if you're doing like some random show and you're gonna do 15 minutes and they're gonna give you like $10, that wasn't worth your gas. Like at minimum, you should be like, all right, if I get $50 out of this, I'm on the winning side
Yeah, ten
because
dollars.
that paid for the gas.
Exactly $10. Well, I'm getting two number threes, I guess.
Yo,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm weak.
cool. Is there anything you like to say to your fans?
Follow me on Instagram, Grant Sheffield 1. That'll do it.
All right. Are you anywhere else? Any shows coming up for this? This should come out January. Any shows coming up in January?
Hopefully, the city might potentially be shut down, so we don't know what's happening.
Okay.
Uh, we don't know what Cuomo's going to do, but working on a few things in the next month or so, like trying to produce some stuff. So that should be good, and I'll have that on my Instagram and all that.
Nice, nice. Please, gotta make sure you follow. Unlike the great state of North Carolina, I mean North New York, where they're being protective, Governor Mac Masters in South Carolina is like, we're not closing. He's like, you die, you die. All right, buddy. I'll call you, or you call me, and we'll do the movie review. Okay. All right.
Okay.